This is the Stop Playing podcast with Sham and Shaka. I'm Sham.
I'm Shaka. What's going on, Sham?
Nothing much. It's a Saturday evening, so we're hopping around the week as usual.
Yeah. Saturday Night Lights, 10 o'clock. Michigan is getting thumped. Jim Harbaugh about to be out of there.
Well, according to our good friend Dominic, he's going to be coaching the Jaguars next year. So we'll see how that plays out.
Apparently, he has some kind of hot take information. He was like, I called it. He's like, you called what? Okay. That's fine.
I don't know. Maybe he talked to Tom Coughlin this week. Who knows?
But he needs to be, well, if he talked to Tom Coughlin, that's like the last person to talk to about Jacksonville. But yeah, Jim Harbaugh is, this is not looking good. Seriously. We'll talk about sports, but how's your week, man?
Pretty much the same. It's getting pretty cold, man.
Well, it is now, but like during the week, right? Up and down. Was it like that up there? I act like you're like 1,000 miles away.
I know, right? Like we're literally in the same like biosphere. But
I have to check sometimes. I have to check.
We're in the same like, what do you call it? Latitude, longitude.
Yeah. Latitude, longitude. It was feeling like, late summertime early in the week. And it wasn't even like, okay, well, the first part of the week felt like this and the second part of the week felt like that. It was like one day it would be 60, next day it'd be 40, 60, 40, 60, 40. Like that's how the week's been. Even
yesterday it was really warm. And the temperature today was 57 degrees, but it didn't feel like it. It felt like a good 70 all day. Like I was riding in my car like, oh my gosh, this car retains so much heat. It's so hot in here. And then it seemed like right around 7 o'clock it went joop. And now it's like freezing.
And tomorrow will be 67. So it'll continue to do that. I know that down here recently this week, and I'm going to mention it now because it's not worthy of a story. All of 45 supporters have had like a rally here. Oh, yeah. They've been chilling today. Yeah.
Apparently. Been hearing all about it.
They called it the Million MAGA March, which is so damn disrespectful.
With 100 people,
right. Like they had a handful of people, the same amount
of people that showed up to the inauguration.
Exactly. Biggest crowd ever, except it's not. The only other thing I'll say, I watched Recount. So I mentioned it last week, but this week I actually watched it just because I guess I conjured it up within myself. Man. I'll tell you this right now. We are lucky 45 didn't have the same operatives that George W. Bush had for the 2000 election, or he'd probably be still president right now. I mean, that movie laid it out like chapter and verse, how they just basically took everything was sitting here, like 45 was wringing his hands about, like they took votes and just threw them out. Like, your name is... Sham instead of Shaka. That sounds similar. I'm throwing both your votes out. Like it was like that.
I never did actually sit down and watch that movie. I just didn't feel like it was something I needed to see.
Yo, I saw on Google. It's gotten an uptick, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, because of it. And man, the stuff they were doing in that election, that was 20 years ago. So you can imagine the kind of list they would go to at this point. But yeah. It got me mad all over again. I felt like I was in 2000. I was like, no, we need to call Al Gore and George Bush and have this out right now.
Yeah, Al Gore he had a raw deal.
Yeah, and he was too chill about it.
Way too chill. Too chill. So Shaka, it is November. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think it was November when we recorded our last episode, and of course, because you talked about your birthday being this month, we know why you love November.
Yeah.
I interestingly love November for one reason and one reason only, because it's usually the 1 month out of the year that I actually bring out my pumpkin martini cocktail.
That doesn't sound good at all, but apparently you like it, huh?
Oh, it's delicious.
It's delicious.
The way that it came about is like so crazy. Look, pumpkin martini is not a drink that hasn't been made before. I didn't make it up or anything. Okay. But the way that this recipe had come about is because I was, as you know, I used to be a bartender. Mm-hmm. And I was working at this hotel at the time. And there was another bartender that worked there who ended up being my cousin, actually. We found out later how we were related. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have the right ingredients for a drink we were supposed to make that was put on the holiday menu.
Okay.
And so we had all this pumpkin and we had all this like maple syrup and we had all these things that we were supposed to put. It was like some bourbon cocktail that was supposed to have like some anise in it. I think that's how you say it. Anise. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to have that in it and they never ordered it. So people kept ordering the drink. And then we were like, all right, we got to make something else out of this. And we had like whipped vodka. We had like marshmallow vodka. We had all these different vodkas. And we were like, all right, we're just going to throw them all together. And we ended up making a pumpkin martini out of it.
Now, as you've been saying all these ingredients, it has sounded better. Than it sounded when you first said the name.
I never told you what was in it. So
see, pumpkin. Like, I'm not a fan of pumpkin. Like, do you like pumpkin pie?
I do not. I prefer sweet potato pie. However, when I was little in elementary school, we had made pumpkin pancakes or something. Like there are things you can do with pumpkin to make it taste good. I mean, it's just like, come on, like culturally, let's face it. Black folk, we all about the sweet potato. We ain't really about the pumpkin. But you know, you take the vanilla whipped or marshmallow vodka, you mash up the pumpkin and mix it with the little maple syrup to make it like a smooth puree. Yeah. Throw in some Baileys, little triple sec, shake it. Boom. You got a pumpkin martini.
I'm going to get kicked out of the Black organization. I don't really rock with sweet potato either. But everything you just said about pumpkin, yeah, it made it sound better. It's
a delicious drink. I used to actually make some and put it in jars and take it to my coworkers. So November is the only time I drink that. So I always look forward to it.
Yeah. And Sham, about the Black organization, grits, where are you on grits?
Butter and salt and pepper.
How about me? Nada, period. Yeah, no, I got a lot of explaining to do. My name keeps me in the organization. That's it. Like I got I got a lot of checks. I got a lot of boxes that's not checked.
Yeah, your name holds all the weight.
Exactly. Yeah,
I bet you don't eat cream of wheat either.
No, sure don't.
What about oatmeal?
I've tried it, and I wouldn't like not eat it, but no. Mm-mm. Nah, yeah, exactly. Name just made me. I'm entitled.
I see.
I'm the entitled dude in the Black people meeting. Like my name is. I got to do what I want. I can watch Friends and all that. Oh man, your government is the same way, but I'm not gonna say it.
Look, I'm watching Friends and Sex and the City, and anybody try to throw me out of the Black contingent.
Hey, look, we didn't talk about it last week, but we both were outraged that Kanye, forget his failed presidency and the damage that would have done to our republic. How dare he get on public record and try to add Jennifer Aniston and say Friends wasn't funny? Unacceptable. Yeah, you hit me about that.
Right. I was pissed because Jennifer Aniston said, come on, guys, don't vote for Kanye. That's not even funny. And he was like, well, Friends wasn't funny either. Wrong.
Like, you're a liar, sir.
Wrong.
That right there disqualifies you for the presidency. You're wrong. That just shows you're a liar. You're just going to say anything. No, but
Kanye has never watched an episode of Friends because that is a whole lie.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm glad you said something about the autumn thing. And I know we got to get to our stories. My excellent job, like my God, Sham. But my current job now, I love, and I love all the people there. And I've loved most of the people at most of my other jobs.
You've talked very well about you love this new job. Like ever since you got it, you've talked about it on the podcast, and you talk of them in a high regard.
And the only reason I wouldn't even say their name, it would only be positive, but they're very good about branding, and I'm with them on that. But they
still ain't in Maryland, though.
I know. Anyway, they did send us. They sent us another care package. So I talked about that on the show before, and they sent us another one yesterday. And they called it the Autumn Care Package. And they sent, what made me think about that was when you were talking about pumpkins. They sent like some recipe for pumpkin pie or something. But they also sent, I'm holding it right now, actually, apple cinnamon warmth black tea, which sounds delicious. And I can't wait to fire that up. They send us, Kleenex and stuff like that in case we get a cold, hand sanitizer, which we've talked about. I mean, but it's the thought that counts. Pens and stuff like that. And then they also sent chocolates. And they were like, this is your autumn package, but like stay in the house and don't go out, which we'll talk about that as well. So that was good. That got here yesterday. Still looking box.
Ooh.
Yeah. So listen, what kind of week has it been? You, me, and 78 million people voted for Joe Biden and are accepting the fact that he won the election and he is the president. Our current he will be the president. Excuse me. He's the president-elect. Our current president is not accepting that fact. President-elect Trump has moved full steam ahead with his legal challenges. I have a correction from last week. I said the Four Seasons was a hotel with a lowercase. No, this was Four Seasons Landscaping that Rudy Giuliani had his press conference in front of. So
it was a little building.
It was a little building in like the industrial district in Philadelphia. So there was that. Since that time, several legal challenges of 45s have been dropped and thrown out. Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Georgia was called officially yesterday, even after the hand recount. So it's over. It was over before, but now it's like officially in the courts over. Joe Biden got 306 electoral votes, which was the same amount that 45 got in his election. And I believe 45 ended up with 238. He did end up winning North Carolina. So that's that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And before we move on to the next topic, let us just give props where props is due and tell everybody where they can find us. So, guys, if you're listening, thank you. Tell a friend. Make sure they know that they can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or they can just use their preferred podcast app and just type in Stop Playing Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Stop Playing Podcast, on Twitter at Stop_Playing Pod, and on YouTube at the Stop Playing Podcast. Also, visit us on our website at www.stopplayingpodcast.com, and you can find all the links to wherever you can find us on there.
I don't want people to follow us because I never say it. It's bad. Thank you, Sham.
Well, I can just say it. It's fine.
I was just like, I don't care about people following us. I just want to talk. That'll be put on my tombstone. I knew you'd find that funny.
Anyway, circling back though, I mean, 45 is not stopping. Although I did hear on MSNBC the other day that they're probably going to keep this going for like at maximum 2 more weeks. But I don't even believe that. But every case that he's tried to, every complaint that he's made in every court has been dismissed and thrown out. There's no merit to any of it. So I don't know.
He almost slipped up. So you and I talked. So today's Saturday, the 14th of November, and he almost slipped up yesterday. There was a press conference yesterday, and we'll kind of go into it more detail. But he wanted to say that he's doing something now, and the new administration may be doing something, but then he stopped himself. 45 has been a shell of himself since this election. Now, he has tweeted, and he's been a little out of control with his tweets, as usual. But his public persona, this was the first time he had come out since a week, since the press conference, like 2 or 3 days after the election when he asserted fraud. He had been kind of bunkered up. And now his son's 22 and a half. And and Eric, who doesn't even get a number because he's just nothing. They've been out here lately, like going full throttle on the conspiracy theories. Ivanka, meanwhile, this isn't even recent, but this is just in general. Her and Jared Kushner, obviously they have kids. They put their kids in a private school here in D.C. Not going to name the school, but the school basically kicked their kids out and made them go to another school because they didn't like what Jared and Ivanka were doing about COVID. Like, they didn't like their COVID protocols. They were like, if y'all not wearing a mask, your kids probably got COVID, and they're going to give it to these other kids. So
Isn't
get
that
out.
The great thing about private schools? They can just make up their own rules.
Yeah, I went to a school like that. Like, we don't care who you are. They're people, you're paying money, they're paying money. And the other people who paying money don't want you here. So get out.
Yeah. For elementary and secondary, I went to public school. I've talked about that. But my college, Hampton, was private. And they went by those same philosophies. Like, we make the rules here. And like, they would expel you for saying a swear word in front of somebody. Like, so, I mean, I love how private schools work.
I mean, it's one of those things like, oh, the school system is talking about whether they're going to wear masks or not, or whether they're going to have distance learning. That's great. Listen, we don't care what y'all do. Everybody stay at home or not. We have a board and trustees and all that who pay money who make these rules here.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Do you ever feel like 45 treats Eric like he's the son he wish he never had?
Oh, absolutely. That's a running joke for everybody. Everybody knows he don't like Eric. He don't like Eric. And when Eric goes out and talks, you can tell he's the son that knows he's not liked, that's like trying too hard. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Again, secession, whether intentional or not, I mean, it's supposed to be about the Murdochs, but there's a case to be made that it could be about the Trumps. Like, Logan Roy is Donald Trump. 22 and a half, Trump Jr. is Kendall, and Eric is nobody but Roman. Where, like, if his dad tell him, like, sit down, bark like a dog, and crawl across the room, he would do it in public. Like, it's just like that. It's horrible. But yeah, so that's what they've been doing. They've been pushing these conspiracy theories. Now, where it gets dangerous is, Mike Pompeo is the Secretary of State. You and I have talked about him on the show, and you brought him up a few weeks ago. And we talked about him several times. He's the Secretary of State. I mean, Sam, that's the fourth highest office in government. All right, you got President, Vice President, House Speaker, and then, like, if all those people were to die at once, Secretary of State is the fourth in the succession of presidency. He goes out here, has a press conference at the State Department earlier this week, like Thursday. And the whole thing this week is about how 45 is not conceding the election. Like, and that's a problem. He's not allowing Biden's transition team to come in there. The government, the GSA office is blocking funds and all that. So people asked Pompeo, the reporters were like, look, we're getting to a point where other countries are concerned that there hasn't been a concession, and therefore we can't have a smooth transition. So at what point does this become a threat to national security? This was the question. And he goes, well, the transition is going to be to Donald Trump's second term. And then he giggles. And then he says, okay. And he didn't even say in all seriousness, but then his tone changes. It says, look, I've been on the back of the end of this. There'll be a smooth transition. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. So there are two options there. Either he was joking, which is like, Slim, you're the fourth highest person in this government. You're joking about the president who you work for not conceding that he lost the election to the incoming president. That's not okay. Or you're serious, which is even worse.
Yeah, they're both bad.
Yeah, they're both bad. And Mike Pompeo, like you said, it's a damn shame when either we didn't know who the Secretary of State was, or when we do hear your name, like you're doing stuff like this. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you doing? And he thought that was funny. Him, Bill Barr, like they get up there, they're so arrogant and smug, man. They do like illegal, wrong stuff, and it's like, and what? So what? Okay. And they think it's cool. Yeah.
That's actually hilarious. I think back to that episode when we were talking about him, and I literally did not know who he was. Like, I think back to, I knew who Colin Powell was. I knew who Condoleezza Rice was. I knew John Kerry, Hillary Clinton. But this guy, I did not know this guy.
Yep. Before then, Warren Christopher, we knew who they were because it's an important office.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
he's literally the person that's going to keep people from attacking us.
You're our diplomat to the rest of the world. You're the chief diplomat. And you're the fourth person in this government. Again, if the president, vice president, and speaker of the House get killed, the secretary of state is running the country. Period.
That would have been pretty horrible.
Yes. It's like, you joking about this? Like, what are you doing? But that's the kind of week it's been, where, again, it's slow. There have been some Republicans, but like Mitch McConnell, all the main ones are still not conceding the election.
Well, sorry for them.
And they're still not calling Joe Biden president-elect, which sounds like semantics, but somebody brought up a point. And you and I we've talked about George Bush and 9/11 and all that a few times. And again, I brought up recount. There was a lot of bitterness after that 2000 election. It took a month to get it sorted out where they were actually counting real votes. But at the end of the day, it did prevent him from transitioning smoothly into the office. And people think that amongst a variety of reasons that hindered his ability and administration's ability to anticipate and prevent 9/11. Like, that's been brought out this week. That you can't just hinder an incoming president's ability to do his job. And that's what's happening right now. And it's not cool. And it's not funny. Now, the reason I brought up my last job, so again, no problems with my last job in and of itself. But I will say this, Sham, I don't know what your policy is on this. When I work with people, at least at the time, I never add them on social media.
Absolutely not. You cannot be social media friends with your coworkers.
Exactly. So I wait until I'm leaving, and then that's the way that I keep in touch with them. Mm-hmm. Is by adding them. So that's what I did this time. So again, no name said, nothing like that. Sham, I showed you this picture this week. Oh, actually, I think I told you about it. Did I actually send you the picture?
No, you told me about it.
Yeah. At this point, it's like, you don't need to say it. A former coworker of mine that was working in the Midwest posted a picture of Nazi Germany with like thousands of troops doing the Hail Hitler sign. And then, so that was the top of the meme. This is a meme. So then at the bottom of the meme, the caption is, how could they all be so stupid and like, they must have been brainwashed. Then at the bottom of the meme with that caption shows a bunch of Americans wearing masks. And I guess the thread was, we're wearing the way that the government is telling us to wear masks now, and us doing that is akin to the German citizenship acquiescing to the Nazi philosophy. And she put this on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have a search. That's why.
Yeah, because apparently we have to be brainwashed to think that we can save other people by wearing masks.
Exactly. Oh, when the government is telling us to wear masks, so masks are bad. That's fascism and that's dictatorship. Sham, she posted this yesterday, Friday, the same day in which we saw last week. I was sitting there tripping. We were sitting there tripping that we were at 120,000. We have broken new case records every single day, including now. I don't know what Saturday's going to bring, but as of Friday, 152,000 new cases yesterday across the country. Maryland by itself had like 4,000. Governor Hogan, we didn't even talk about this last week, but you sent this to me and then I saw it. Governor Hogan, Hulk Hogan, he's for real going Hulk Hogan out here. He is not happy with what's happening.
No.
What were his exact words, Sam? Put the damn mask on.
You did say that. I did say that. I forgot.
He was cussing and all that. He is very upset.
Yeah, he pissed.
Put the damn mask on. Wear the damn mask. And I'm with him. Like, what? We can't even wear a mask. And this is why 152,000 yesterday. Hospitals all over the country completely overwhelmed again. It's worse than it was back in the spring.
I think I might have mentioned this before. So my sister works for the hospital system.
Mm-hmm. You did. You have. Mm-hmm.
For University of Maryland hospital system. And
I like your sister. Won't say her name, but she's awesome. Very bubbly.
Everybody loves my sister.
Yeah.
So she was telling me that, because she works in a smaller segment of the hospital, and they're starting to pull doctors from her practice into the hospital because the numbers are going back up. And this is what they did during the first wave. Yeah. Like, they couldn't focus on their own specialties because they had to go and help with the COVID response. And they're about to do that again. But in the meantime, in her practice, they have a mask mandate, as like many places do all over the state. Like, if it's a public place or even some private places, and frankly, private places have more. And we were just talking about that with the schools. Mm-hmm. They can do whatever they want. They don't, you know what I'm saying? If they want to put a harsher mask mandate on it, they can. So I guess a lady came in and she wasn't wearing her mask, and she must have, claimed that she had some type of illness that required her to be able to take it off. And my sister's like really on the front line.
Yeah.
And so she told, the woman, like, you can't come in to see the doctor unless you put on a mask. And she said the woman flipped out. And she was like, I have the right to not wear a mask. And she's like, well, not in here. You don't. No. You're not going to be seen if you don't wear a mask. She said the lady starts screaming, I'm tired of this mask shit. And like was going off. And, my sister got really upset about it. And I'm like, at this point, you just have to stick to your guns and just say, look, either put it on or you're not coming in here, because there's no other place that she can go in Maryland without a mask on. So I don't know why she's so mad. She has to put it on in here.
Right. I read Hulk Hogan's, Sham, I'm gonna keep calling him Hulk Hogan. He has to come out and tell me that he didn't write somebody in for the vote, and then I'll stop calling him that. But in all seriousness, I read his actual statement, not that press conference, but what he put out in response to the uptick in Maryland on Friday. Mm-hmm. And he was like, look, in the statement, he said, he put it on Twitter. He said, I want to remind everybody in Maryland that masks are mandatory. This is legal. So if your business does not require masks to come in, and we find people in there, I will shut that business down, and there will be jail time and fines.
Oh, he's been shutting businesses down.
He is not playing.
So
and good.
Remember I told you about my neighborhood and the person who owned the restaurant, and the people were mad because that restaurant got shut down.
Yikes. Yeah, he's not playing. Like, he's like, I'm out here looking for y'all. Mm-hmm.
COVID violation shut down until further notice. He ain't playing.
And you going to jail. He said that. I will put you in jail. Like, I'm tired of this.
This is public safety, man. We got a whole population of people dying because y'all being stupid.
Y'all being stupid. Like, look, Uncle Tony. So continue with COVID. Uncle Tony, he'll be on Meet the Press tomorrow, or he'll be on Facebook. He'll probably be on everything. But he is like, look, I've tried every single different type of way to tell y'all. But the winter will be horrible. We already knew that in general because people are going to have to be indoors. But it's surging worse than it should be right now because of what y'all did in the summer and what y'all are doing right now. We're already over 150,000. I heard Uncle Tony out of his own mouth say, Anthony Fauci say out of his own mouth, 250,000 plus a day if we don't stop this. 250, 250,000 people a day. That's crazy.
It's unheard of. It's absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Uncle Joe.
Got a team.
Yeah. He has so he has a COVID transition team. He doesn't have like the task. So that's where I got kind of caught up because I was like, man, he's going to have his task force, he's going to blah, blah, blah. So the people he have right now is just supposed to help him with the transition. And then once he's in office, he's going to have like another team. But some of them,
he could potentially keep these people though, right?
Oh, he could keep them. That's true. Yeah, but I was looking for the big one and I didn't get the big one. So, so I was watching MSNBC and there's some people kind of like talking about it. And they were saying like part of what he may do is to like do sections instead of doing like mandates for a whole state, but maybe those areas that in that state, like for instance, PG County and Montgomery County were out of control during the first wave. Like putting those two under strict mandates or like finding the areas that have the most cases and making those areas mandated and shutting them down instead of shutting down whole states like they did before. That could be maybe a better solution.
Sure.
But I don't know what does that look like? You know, what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, I was about to say, it sounds almost like, and, you know, we've been so divorced from this type of thing for the last 4 years, but a specific analytical approach to a problem instead of just a blanket approach. Mm-hmm. While I do have trouble kind of following exactly how that will work, because it's not like, you know, PG County and Montgomery County don't have an iron barrier in between it.
That's why you would have to but shut down both.
Exactly. So, but I do like at least the thought process of let's start with identifying areas where it seems to be more prolific. Mm-hmm. Because that's what we were praising. Now, look, New Zealand is a small country the size of like PG County. You know what I'm saying? But that's what they did when they had an outbreak. Like, all right, let's start with the family and then go out from there. I'm not saying you can enforce litigation or make legislation for that. But I do like the approach of let's attack this by starting at the places where it's most prolific and it's most spreading, and then form our legislation based on that. So to your point, I don't know if I fully agree with only shutting down like one county as opposed to another. I don't think that's the solution, but I do at least agree with approaching this on a county by county or area by area level, as opposed to even a state by state level, because there are no iron barriers between states. Mm-hmm. That's why I liked when we talked on the podcast. This is a long time ago now on the show, when they had that kind of interstate coalition.
Yeah, which they did sign.
Resources. Yeah,
the 9 states.
Right, because it's one of those things like, and you know, at the time, I thought it was like kind of a regional thing. No, that was like Maryland, and then I think another state was like Utah or something. Mm-hmm. So it didn't matter where you were. It was just like, these are the states that are willing to work together and kind of like pool their resources. So I think that's how you have to attack this, where it's like the virus doesn't discriminate, so we shouldn't discriminate either in how to attack it. So I do like that. So to your point, it's like a mixed reaction. Because yes, I had the same thing. Like, well, you can't really do this county by county. Like, you can't do that. Yeah. But you should look at it county by county, but you shouldn't legislate it county by county. If that makes sense. Yeah. So. Yeah,
I don't know what makes sense, but it has to be something better than what's happening now.
Hey, throw everything against the wall. So look, the most significant thing, and then we'll be wrapped up, is so Sham, theoretically, we have a vaccine.
We actually do have one, apparently.
We have one. Now, there were many funny things that came out of this. And you and I were like, you weren't able to watch it live, but I was able to watch 45 come out live and announce this.
With his gray hair?
Yes. He's been stressed out or running out of orange or both.
Nah, he did that on purpose. He want folks to feel sorry for him.
Yeah, he's been looking sad.
When is he not tanned and had his hair perfectly colored? Come on now.
Sham, one thing I'll say, we both want 45 out of office. What I won't miss is anticipating the 45 press conference and him delivering. Because he did. He did. I was sitting there and it was one of those things. It was like the Mick Mulvaney day and everything else, where he comes out, he does whatever. So, look, the big news is that in partnership with Pfizer, Operation Warp Speed, which is the colloquial term of the government for like their little task force about getting the virus together, they worked with Pfizer to do that. Now, first thing out the gate, that's hilarious. Pfizer is completely stiff-arming the government on this. And it's like, look, we're not part of Operation Warp Speed. We're a government. We're an outside contractor that's working with the government. That's fine. But like, stop trying to like name us in your crew. We're not. We're Pfizer, and we've been doing stuff like this. Sham, he comes out there. First of all, we haven't heard from 45 in over a week, like we talked about. So it's the second they said he's having a press conference, and yeah, okay, it's going to be about the COVID response. I was like, well, that's code for he's going to come out. He's going to talk about COVID for 5 minutes to air his grievances about the election. I was disappointed about that. He didn't do that, but he aired some grievances, definitely. He comes out. It's in the Rose Garden. Deborah Burks is there, surprisingly. She's sitting in the front row, but she didn't say anything. He comes out, he announces that we're going to have a vaccine and it's going to be ready for distribution. I think he said January, late January, early February. Then he talks about how if it was any other administration, like it would have taken years to do this, all the stuff kind of we were talking about. And Sham, I have a mea culpa on the show right now. When Pfizer announced that they were close, which was like 2 weeks ago, they announced that they were like 80, 90% there. And then after the election, they announced that they basically like had it done. And then he immediately kirked out and said, well, you guys waited till after the election like this conspiracy?
They don't like him.
Hey, Sham, listen, just because 45 lies all the time is just because he's paranoid doesn't mean that's not true.
No, they probably did wait.
They did do that. They did.
It's like, we try to find out if Joe Biden gonna win first.
Like, when he was sitting there, because you could tell he was still mad because he was sitting there like, yeah, it would have taken everybody like years to do this and we're going to roll this out and all this stuff and we've been working hard with him. I was like, I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Like, he was right. They waited on this and they kind of screwed him. Because if he had come out with this before the election, like, he would have won the election. There's no question about it. Like, he would have won the election. And they kind of screwed him. I'll just say it right here, right now on the podcast. Like, they screwed him on this. I
mean, they vote too.
Yeah, they probably like won't like him. Like you said, we'll like him.
We like him.
Yeah, we like Biden. So yeah, we gonna sit on this for 2 weeks, and if he accuses us, we'll just be like, hey man, we weren't done yet. But so that was part of it, and then the rest of it. The only other notable from the press conference was that he completely went out of his way to badmouth Mario Cuomo. I keep saying Mario, Sham.
Andrew.
That's their father. Sham, he basically said, New York, y'all are not getting the vaccine until Andrew Cuomo like apologizes to me. I mean, he didn't say it like that, but he basically said it like that.
How you gonna tell Pfizer who to distribute the vaccine to? Like, get out of here.
Well, yeah, that's part of the problem, right? Exactly. Pfizer knows that they control it, and he thinks he controls it. Matter of fact, that was other notable. He said that Pfizer, their comments about how they weren't part of Operation Warp Speed were an unfortunate mischaracterization, is exactly what he said. And he said that twice. Like, basically, they're lying. They are part of Warp Speed, Operation Warp Speed. It's like, dude, you're the expert on lying. They're not. Like, stop.
He tried to claim Pfizer like he claimed Ice Cube.
Exactly. Right. Oh, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up before we wrap up. Have you been seeing how him and Lil Wayne and Waka and all those people have been getting just clubbed? Yeah,
they've been getting dragged.
Yeah, like, you guys aren't welcome back. Like, you need to present us paperwork on why we should let you back in the fam.
Lil Wayne's 3 dreadlocks have been getting dragged more than he has, though.
Yeah. And look, I came on here and defended Ice Cube initially, but his trash response on getting challenged about not including Black women, like, Ice Cube, like, you need to sit down on that.
Yeah, there's no defense for that. I still would say that he kind of got used for the whole.
Yes, he did.
Other thing.
Yeah, he's been mischaracterized. Yes.
Right. I will compartmentalize the two.
Exactly.
Situations.
And look, I'll compartmentalize the hell out of everything I say to Ice Cube because, like you like to point out, I ain't fighting nobody.
Yeah, you're not fighting.
I ain't fighting him. Ice Cube, man, you the man. Whatever. I don't know who that dude was on the podcast. That's cool. But unless you have anything, I mean, look, I'm glad we're taping today because had we taped yesterday, when especially like I saw that meme and I saw all the stuff 45 was doing to prevent the transition. Oh, part of his prevention of the transition will hinder the distribution of the vaccine. So because Joe Biden's team can't like get access to government agencies, so they can't get a handle of the logistics. Yeah, that's gonna cause harm. I was upset at that. I was upset at the meme. I was upset at everything, and I was going nuclear. So to me, it's been a horrible news week. But I mean, we're moving forward. So that's all political and world news we got to tape. All the world leaders are they're happy. It's happy to see them happy though, isn't it, Sham?
It is. They partying. They
really they are like we don't care what this dude says. Joe Biden, you're the president. We're ready to work. Yeah. So that's cool. What we got in entertainment?
So I sent this story to you earlier because I was just kind of cracking up at it. Partly because of the response in the story and partly at myself for letting my hopes get up.
I have some thoughts. I'm glad you sent this. I have some thoughts on this.
So I saw this thing pop up and it was like a Google card. I think we talked about Google cards before. And it was like Marvel executive lays down final word on Iron Man's return.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, snap. I'm reading along. I'm like, oh, they might bring Tony Stark / Iron Man back to the MCU. And then I'm like, yeah, they've done it in the comic books before. They're going to bring him back. And then, boom, no.
Yeah. So definition of clickbait.
Definition of clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
So Marvel Studios Executive Vice President Victoria Alonso basically said these two sentences. Tony Stark is dead, and that's our story. And you can quote me on the quote unquote. Basically, I added that part.
No, but seriously, I read the story too, and I was like, wow, that was very blunt.
Basically, like, I'm tired of y'all asking me about it. It's not going to happen. Move on.
Yeah, she was very, apparently it was like on some, I forgot what forum it was on, but yeah, she had a couple other quotes in there too. And I was like, wow, she's really tired of talking about this.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, matter of fact, you took one of my comments. Yes. Yes. Cause I was like, yo, why is she so, does she not like him? Look, I have a question for you. So Victoria Alonso, that's the name, right? That's what you said? Yeah. So we've talked about Kevin Feige, who's the kind of... He's
the president of Marvel Studios.
Right. I had never heard of this woman. Now, I was never really like, I'm more DC, as you know. But she is a huge deal. Like, to say she's second in command, I mean, that is accurate, but it's like, yeah, it sounds like she's like the deputy ops. Like, she's the day-to-day showrunner.
She's the bad cop.
Right. Like, she's the person who likes to fire people and stuff. And they said, they made a point to say her name is in every credit of every movie, period. So I just thought it was amazing that, like, someone of that caliber, I didn't know their name, but okay. But she you would have thought they really, like, there was a real Iron Man in the real world and they killed him the way she was talking about it. She was like, yeah, in the story, he's dead. Like, the tone of the article was like, what is the animus?
Like, she crushed Iron Man and Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Like,
now hear my other thoughts. Aside from her, like, whatever reasons, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I know, look, you and I have talked about it, and the article said it accurately. The whole thing started from Iron Man and from Robert Downey Jr. and from his charisma in carrying off that character. That being said, it's not like it can exist without him. It can. Number one. Number two, okay, Marvel is way better than DC, so they shouldn't follow DC's example in like most things. But you can just always reboot the whole situation and start it again. Yeah, there's no problem with that. So, like, 3, 4, 5 years from now, they done rebooted Spider-Man 100 times.
They needed to, though.
You had a problem with I liked all the Spider-Mans, even Andrew Garfield. I liked him from Social Network. You didn't
the
like
Amazing
him?
Spider-Man?
Yeah, wow. I liked him, and I liked Gwen Stacy, the whole because that had been something that hadn't been talked about. Oh, so you didn't like either one of those movies? I take it.
I think they needed to reboot them specifically for this MCU, this, 22 movies. Like, you had to do it this time. And I think the way that they did it this time was actually very good because of the tie-in. Now, the first two Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
I thought those were fine. The third one was trash.
The second one, in my opinion, is my favorite. I won't say my favorite Marvel movie. That's Black Panther, but one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first two Tobey Maguire ones were excellent. The third one kind of went off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think we needed the Amazing Spider-Man. That just felt like it came out of nowhere. And then because the MCU was doing this Infinity series right around the same time, it was almost like, didn't we just do Spider-Man? And now we got to bring them back to the MCU. Yeah. So that's why that one to me just kind of hangs out on the fence on its own.
Of course. And to your point, it wouldn't work with Andrew Garfield. He was too old.
Mm-hmm.
And the storyline of how they were incorporating Spider-Man into the MCU wouldn't work. Another Marvel update. You saw, we knew this already, but there's been some actual like trailer art about Shuri being Black Panther 2.
Well, yeah. I don't think, obviously they had to make some sort of change because of Chadwick Boseman's untimely death. I don't think that was ever the first idea, but I mean, if they're going to shift it a little, then that's good because that actually happened in the comic book.
It would, right. So it's consistent with the comic. Exactly. But I'm very excited about that though. Best out of a bad situation. But in general though, look, look, you know what they can always do? They can always I call it the Force Ghost Obi-Wan effect. You could bring him in from time to time as like a vision or a dream or whatever. It'd be fine, but he don't need to be in the movies like that. No. And he even said, he was like, I'm done. It's been 12 years. It was good for him. Sorry to see him go. Look, our attention needs to be more on, you know what, Sham? I don't know. I haven't been able to shake Reese's depiction of Anthony Mackie. Captain America. So now I'm like heaping all these expectations and I don't know how it's going to turn out. Because Reese made it sound like that movie is not even like Captain America better have some help or he's going to get washed.
I mean, look, the first one drank a serum.
Yeah.
Like, he was a whole superhuman. Like, Anthony Mackie is a regular human. Reese has a great point. Like, now I'm supposed to be Captain America. You the one that had the serum. I ain't had that.
I'm so glad we had Reese on the show, but the only time I'm going to regret having him on the show is when I go see Captain America and I'm envisioning like him just getting beat up.
Well, there's going to be a series on Disney Plus called Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if that transition will happen on that series or if there will be another, because I haven't heard anything about another Captain America movie. Have you? You're
right. No, I haven't. So I'm guessing that's the logical place. Yeah. And they probably, as all the platforms are, and then I'll talk about that in a second, they're adjusting to COVID because, again, it's getting worse. AMC, I'll say on the podcast, I actually had some stock in it, trying to think it would come back up. But because the crisis has gotten so bad, I mean, they're shutting down theaters left and right still. They're closing. So all the theaters and all the studios are streaming their shows for platforms, internet platforms, Netflix, Disney Plus, all that. And what they're doing is going away from movies if they have a movie idea. And to your point, let's just make it a show.
I mean, and honestly, too, even if you still want to have the feature film shown, there's AMC On Demand, there's Fandango. I mean, there's a lot of places where you can get movies, and they push back a lot of movies and didn't want to, put them out due to the pandemic. And we might be going back to a stay-at-home order and being locked in and stuff. Yeah. At this point, push them out the best way that you can, because people are going to be at home and they're going to want to watch them. Like, I felt like they could have put Black Widow on like AMC On Demand or Fandango, and I would have paid to see it. It
would have been perfect for that.
It would have been.
Yeah.
So, new episodes of The Mandalorian.
So The Mandalorian has premiered. And we spent some time talking about this is more of a mention, but I don't know, Sam, this story just, it tickles. This story is on the line of Jared Leto and like him and just getting mad about the Joker because of what's been happening. So The Mandalorian, we're now in our third episode. It premiered. The third episode came out last night. The new season is very good. This whole thing about Pedro Pascal and not wanting to remove his helmet so he can be seen.
Mask on, mask off.
Exactly. Nice. Has manifested itself, especially in this episode. I went into it a couple episodes ago, so I'll just say it like this. Up until this point, the narrative of the character is that his culture doesn't believe in taking their masks off when they're, in general, in front of anybody. That's part of the culture. Champ, this episode, you don't even need to be a Star Wars head. This episode, they had people from the planet of Mandalore, like he was finding them, and then they immediately took their helmets off in the episode. And then he was like, what are you doing? Like, blah, blah, blah. And then they were like, oh, you're basically like from that other type of culture that is like a fundamentalist, like you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that was like part of the episode. And so watching it, it was one of those things like, during filming, he was sitting there like, okay. So now that's not even part of the culture anymore. That's not even part of the script. Why can't I take my helmet off? But he still didn't take it off like in the show the whole time. So I'm starting to see it's still not acceptable how he was acting, but I'm starting to see like why he was upset about the fact that he couldn't take his helmet off the show when, like I said, people came in there immediately and did that. But, the other thing that I know you would like and find ridiculous, there was another plot line in which there were eggs in a jar from a different species, and it's a whole story. But the point being, there were eggs in a jar, and Baby Yoda was eating the eggs like when he shouldn't have been, because they were supposed to be like actual eggs for actual species. Sham, tell me why there was a protest against Baby Yoda online, accusing him of genocide. Accusing him of genocide. and I'm not playing. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Baby Yoda's in trouble for eating eggs in the episode. That was episode 2.
Man, he was hungry.
He was hungry, right?
That man eat eggs.
And they were supposed to be transporting the eggs for a species, and he was eating them. And there are actual human beings on planet Earth who formed a protest online, a serious one, about something on a show that's based in another universe. That's the world we live in. I knew you would find that somewhat humorous. You don't even have to care about Star Wars, though. That's dumb.
Yeah, people always outraged about something.
Yeah.
Get over yourselves.
Sham, you sent me a story about Wiz Khalifa.
All right, so Wiz Khalifa, and we all know what Wiz Khalifa is known for. Khalifa Kush.
Yeah.
So he has launched Hotbox by Wiz. It's a delivery-only restaurant concept focused on redefining late-night munchies. So he started launching in ghost kitchens in pretty much every major city nationwide on October 1st. And he's going to have a 420 friendly menu via Postmates, DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. So All you weed smokers, when you get your munchies, there's a 420 friendly menu for you. Thanks to Wiz Khalifa. So y'all can take care of all that.
Yep. He's going to make a ton of money.
Of course he is.
Yep. And brilliant idea by him. Brilliant idea. Tell me about 2 Chainz.
So 2 Chainz was on the Breakfast Club last week talking about his new album because he did just come out with an album. And he did a feature. Lil Wayne and him did a joint, which I thought was really strange. Because I thought Lil Wayne was like BLM what? But whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to.
He is, but yeah.
Yeah, but they performed on the BET Hip Hop Awards, and it was a whole like performance based on that injustice and not black power, because I don't want to say it like that, but you know what I mean, like all of that. And here comes Lil Wayne out there like with 2 Chainz, and I'm like, I'm so confused. But anyway, so 2 Chainz just came on the album. And he was talking to Charlamagne about how he has asked Jay-Z for like the last 10 years to do a feature on his album.
Yep.
And and Jay-Z basically has rejected him. But he has a song on the album called Southern Hove, basically. And he sent him a video of it, and Jay-Z was kind of like, oh, I'm so humbled by it. But DJ Envy was like, well, you know, Hove is kind of like a ask twice type person. So, you know, if you don't ask him twice, he's not going to do it or whatever.
Wow.
Kind of alluding to that. But 2 Chainz was like, I was tired of being rejected, so I ain't want to do it no more.
No, screw it. Right. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious too. Yeah. I'm not going to keep asking this dude. Yeah.
But I think it's hilarious because, you know, I think about some of the features that Jay-Z has done for other artists, and I'm like, you couldn't just show up for 2 Chainz.
I know, right?
It made me feel like, well, maybe he was just kind of like,
I'm not doing it. I don't like you.
Right. That's basically what I was getting to.
Yeah.
I don't rock with you like that, homie.
I don't like you, man. You know, there are times when, you know, Jay has shown us who he is on his albums, where it's like, on Volume 1, he's like, hey, I'm uncomfortable, dog. I don't know you. Yeah. I feel like that's his personality, like for real. But I feel like, and I think at this juncture of his life, he's probably so focused on his business ventures that the music is kind of like in the back of his mind at this point. And if you really do want him to do something like that, you probably have to stay on him because he's so engulfed in everything else. But before we move on to sports, I would like to bring up I got a couple. Yeah, go ahead.
Another 40 and over, I will say, hip hop legend, actually, who came out with an album last week. So, you know, Busta Rhymes came out with ELE 2, Extinction Level Event 2.
Have you heard that?
So I've only heard like small little clips of it. I haven't heard the whole thing. People are saying it's fire. I don't know if I'm riding that fire wave. Like,
Sham, I was about to say, I've heard conflicting reports. I have not heard it. So what is your, it's not as fire, but is it good?
What I heard was like, but you know, when I listen to, like, I heard one particular single and he has a video for it, which typical like Hype Williams type video. I don't know if Hype Williams directed it, but it was very visually friendly, and you know style. That's what you get with Busta. And when I heard it, I was just like, this is so like, it's almost like Busta Rhymes is trying to be a today version of Busta Rhymes. Like, when I hear Busta, I want to hear fast talking Busta, fast rapping, like, I want to hear that. I don't want to hear you sounding like every other Joe Schmo that's rocking right now.
Yeah. And
maybe he feels like that style does not translate to today. But if people, especially our age, are looking forward to a Busta Rhymes album, we want to hear the Busta that we know and love.
I mean, I think look, Busta, you're not. It took me a while to understand that the best version of myself is the version of myself that understands how old he is and what, you know, me coming out here trying to act like a 22-year-old doesn't rock. And Busta, I feel like in hip hop, Jay, Nas, a lot of them have done a good job. Like, yeah, we know it. Cube, yeah, we older now. So that's how we gonna act. So I'm not saying. Listen, I have not heard any of the album, but my point is based on what you're saying. I want Busta to understand that he came out in the 90s and 2000s. I'm not saying you have to take that style, but you have to understand how old you are. You are good enough and better than a lot of these people. You should not be trying to adapt to them. You should be imprinting your style to this age.
Yeah, keep that flow. The flow is what makes Busta who he is. Exactly. I don't want to hear like this other stuff. Like, what are you doing? I want to hear better. I want to hear that.
I've heard conflicting reports though, and actually, the reason I responded, and obviously the listeners can't see me. That was exactly what I heard. They were like, "Yo, what's Busta like trying to prove? What's he trying to do? We don't understand what he's trying to do." And it sounded to me like that's what you were saying too. The reports I heard, but I will check it out because Busta. I mean, come on, man. He's one of the essence MCs. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, no doubt. We got a couple other entertainment notes real quick. We talked about Alex Trebek last week, gave him hopefully what we thought was an appropriate tribute. And, even though we both disagree, Jeopardy will continue without him, unfortunately. Actually, one thing I didn't add, I believe the last show will be on Christmas Day. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Awesome. So I think that's great. So they've obviously taped a bunch of shows, and Alex Trebek's last show will be on Christmas Day. After that, there have been some. So you know what, Sam? This was a surprise to me because I thought that they had decided upon how they were going to choose the host, and I thought they did that whole competition.
They did do it.
Yeah.
But apparently there's an outcry for a particular host.
Yeah, go ahead and lay this out. You sent this one to me.
LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
Like folks are really out here pushing for LeVar Burton to be the next host of Jeopardy. I would have never in a million years, like he would have never dropped out.
Exactly.
But if you think about it, if you ever watched Reading Rainbow growing up, that voice is iconic. And I think that's what people are feeling like somebody like him with that iconic type of presence and voice should do it.
It's one of those things like, I think you were kind of saying it, but I'll give like a kind of a catchphrase to it. If you were to pull a name out of a hat, it wouldn't be LeVar Burton.
Absolutely no.
But once you have the name in your hand, it's like, what? No, okay. Yeah. Why not? Yes, I could see that. I could definitely see that. And I like what you said. People are comfortable with him. I know I am. It's the same type of thing where you have like a dignity and a certain type of character. I mean, nobody had a problem with Alex Trebek ever. Who has a problem with LeVar Burton?
I mean, the only problem I could see anybody would have is that he's black.
Right. Well, yeah.
But yeah. I mean, so, even that's dumb because I'm sure it was tons of white kids watching Reading Rainbow.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're talking about between Reading Rainbow and that's Jordy LaForge you're talking about too. For all the Trekkie nerds. Guys, I haven't talked about it. Y'all heard me talk about Star Wars. I'm blue in the face. I'm also a Trekkie. A huge one. And Star Trek The Next Generation is one of the best shows that's ever been on television.
They wore banana combs on their faces.
I understand that. And it's great. Look, anytime you can have Whoopi Goldberg on there as stand-in, you're doing something. But I like it. I mean, look, again, my preference, and I think we both said it, I wish they would just go ahead and table Jeopardy and just come out with a new show. But if they're not going to do it, and if they insist on having a host, whoever's idea this was, hey, good idea. I can see it. But
what actually happened to the competition? I'm going to have to find this out.
Because I like
somebody won. Somebody did win.
I thought that was clever. Yeah. I thought that was clever. And if I was that person, I'd be like, well, am I getting my money or what?
Was it Ken Jennings that won?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Maybe he don't want to do it.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he backed out. Yeah, you're right. Shan, this is an update. Phil Collins. We had a lot of fun with that story. It's even more funny. So his wife is, I guess as they're going through their proceedings, it's become public. So she's like, look, yeah, I got married, whatever, but he promised me like half of the actual property that is in question. And Sham, she also said he has bad hygiene. Now, I don't understand what that has to do. I mean, that is a problem, a huge one, but I don't understand what that has to do with their suit and her getting married in the crib and disrespecting him. But I mean, I guess she felt it was important enough to bring that up.
I think she was just being petty.
She's being real petty.
She was being super petty because the whole thing came out about her and her new husband just squatting in his house. So she had to make up something to come back at him.
It was one of those stories. I read the story and I was like, oh, okay. So this is why this is a story, because she's claiming to have half of the house. And then I kept reading. I was like, well, why is this in the story? At first I was like, oh, I can see why this story makes sense. Oh, wait, now this is just petty. Yeah, she was like, and he stinks too, basically.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Get out of here. But that was just a humorous note. Hey, you watch anything good on TV before we get this one?
Nah, just my usual. All my fall programs are back. This Is Us on Tuesdays. Got my whole Chicago series on Wednesdays. Thursday night, they did a 2-hour Grey's Anatomy premiere. Season 17. They will not go away.
My goodness.
But it's fine because you know what? Grey's Anatomy, the writers of that show, Shonda, I mean, everybody has done a great job of keeping that show relevant and entertaining. Like there's been different players, cast members. I mean, not cast members, but like characters die, they bring in new, and they all seem to like come in like seamlessly. Like they make you care about these new characters almost immediately, which is again attributed to the excellent writing.
Yeah.
But I will say Grey's Anatomy and Chicago Med this week, full steam ahead on the COVID issue. Like both shows, they are hospital shows.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They are really in it and on it. I mean, some of it is unrealistic, like the hazmat suits that they've been wearing, like, the PPE that they have on those shows are nothing. I mean, in real life.
It'd be insignificant. Yeah. Yeah. Outbreak. Watch Outbreak and the PPE they had on there. That's what they should have. Right.
And again, in real life, like PPE wasn't accessible. People were they did have a scene on Grey's Anatomy where the former chief talked about how that some of them were reusing masks and trying to disinfect them. Meanwhile, like kind of thinning them out so they weren't as effective. So they did bring that part up and figured out a way to sanitize the masks and stuff. So, I mean, it's been some really good storytelling as far as COVID is concerned. But yeah, that's pretty much it. My reality TV has dwindled down a little.
Yeah.
New Real Housewives, Salt Lake City.
How is it?
They're going there with the Mormon thing. They really are. They're really explaining that specifically that Salt Lake City is like the Mormon center of Utah. Yeah. And they've really gone like really in depth about, why, they can't do certain things. They can't say certain, like it's interesting from that aspect. There is one housewife on the show that married her step granddad because her grandmother left it in the will or said before she died that she wanted her husband to marry one of her girls or something.
Wow. Her step granddad, is that what she said?
Her grandmother's husband.
Wow.
After her grandmother died, she married her grandmother's husband.
Morgan Freeman situation almost.
Well, that was like kind of his behind closed doors.
Granddaughter, yeah.
It was. That was kind of like, a secret, but this is like a real thing. And they're black, which I thought was really interesting. So,
oh God, yeah, that was a nice reveal. Good job, because I was kind of like, typical where and my white fans know what we're saying, but typical weird Midwestern white stuff. Oh, wait. Okay. Sorry. And that's why I brought up Morgan Freeman, because it was like when Morgan Freeman did it, that was kind of a little shame on us.
And they're Pentecostal. So that's a whole nother thing. But so that is going to be somewhat interesting.
I'm very interested in Mormonism and stuff like that. Gratuitous HBO mention I haven't done in a while. One of my favorite shows was Big Love. Did you ever see that show?
I watched like a couple episodes and I was like, eh.
It was very good. It was very good. And I understand why you had that reaction, because the first season, especially like at the beginning, was a little bit bland, but then they really picked it up. And it dived, whatever you want to say, went a lot into, Mormonism, multiple, polygamy and that kind of stuff. But it was very good. It was very good. R.I.P. Bill Paxton. We both like him. He had a bunch of good movies. But yeah, well, look, big entertainment time. Sham, entertainment's going to be big. Like you said, we're about to bunker down. We're already seeing it. There's going to be lockdowns. A lot of stuff's going to be streaming.
Oh, you know what I forgot to tell you about?
What's that?
I mentioned it, but I hadn't watched it yet. So I actually did watch Filthy Rich. Okay.
Yeah. How was it?
And earlier when we were talking about Dallas and Suits and all that kind of stuff, before I got off the phone, I meant to tell you, I think you probably would like it.
I will too. Based on how you described it and what I've seen, I'm going to get on it. I love shows like that.
And it's Kim Cattrall, which, I
like her.
We both love from Sex and the City.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, whatever accolades, awards, or anything that's coming out next year, if she isn't nominated for one of them for the way she portrays a TV, she's not an evangelist, but like her and her husband run this like network that's like real religious.
So it's like the 700 Club?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. I'm already in. For them to dramatize something like that, I'm in it.
Yeah, they dramatize it. So yeah, I will. You get in on that. But
got it. Hey, thank you for the recommendation, because I love stuff like that.
So you ready to get in some sports?
Always. It's a lot of big sports news. Start on with a good one. So Sham, I'm gonna let you pronounce this so that if it's mispronounced, it'll be on you.
What?
Hey, listeners, this is what Sham has to deal with all the time. We have a new hire for a GM for the Marlins, correct?
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
The Miami Marlins announced yesterday, and this is girl power, that they hired Kim In to oversee baseball operations as a general manager.
Awesome. Now, here I was thinking that was the first hire, but Sham, I was wrong, correct?
Oh, yeah, you were wrong.
Because you know the Miami Marlins history, so you can lay it out.
Yeah, she's actually the second person in charge. I mean, there's actually, if you want to count not Alex Rodriguez, if you want to count Derek Jeter, then you have Kim In. There is actually another woman in that trifecta that's in charge as well. I do not remember her name.
Okay.
But when they were talking about it on Sports Center, they did mention that she is not the first woman in charge at that organization. And actually, she was actually working there before, correct? I want to...
That part, I think so. But she is the first in the sense of overall in Major League Baseball, Asian American and woman as a GM specifically.
Right. It's the GM part that...
right.
Because there are female owners in Major League Baseball, which is...
Yeah. I mean, the one that jumps out to my head is that trash owner, Marsh Schott.
Right.
Who inherited the team, I believe, from either her husband or her father. And I'm almost positive she was the inspiration behind that horrible trash owner from Major League. Because it was the Cleveland Indians. She was a Cincinnati owner, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The movie Major League. Mm-hmm. And the horrible owner there now. She was younger, but Marsh Schott was the owner. But yeah, so they've been female owners, to your point.
Right.
But GM as a person who is hired to run day-to-day operations, this is a major breakthrough.
And she's worked her way up. She's been working in Major League Baseball for like 30 years. They said she started as an intern with the White Sox at 21. Then she was the American League's director of waivers and records. Then she became an assistant GM when she was 29, working for Brian Cashman.
Yep.
When he was with the Yankees.
And you want to talk about between him and what's homeboy Theo Epstein. Those are the two GMs. If you want to rise in the ranks, you want to work for.
Right. And then after that, she went to the Dodgers and was vice president and assistant GM. And then she worked for the MLB again. And now she's back in as an actual GM for the Marlins. And it was mentioned that she has multiple World Series under her belt. And when that was said, I didn't know all of the details. But yes, she does. She got rings. She was with Cashman for 3 of the Yankees ones. I'm
about to say, if she was with Cashman, chances are, as much as I hate our New York friends, chances are she has a ring somewhere just by being there. So that's awesome. No, good for her and good for the Marlins. Look, matter of fact, actually, that makes sense, right? Because Jeter's there, so he probably interacted with her.
Oh, absolutely. He knew her completely.
Yeah. So all of this makes perfect sense. But look, you want to talk about girl power in general? I mean, look, we're seeing this. At some point, we're going to see, the assistants down in Tampa under Bruce Arians. At some point, we'll see a female coach in the NFL and then the GM. And we'll see. We'll definitely see in the basketball. We'll see in referees. This is great. I mean, you know what? We talked last week. Black women save the republic. You know, a lot of these institutions just have too many old men in them.
Yeah, they do. Ridiculous.
And just stale ideas and just doing stupid stuff over and over just because that's the way it's been done. And it's stupid. So it's good to see women of any sort rising in these ranks and having these opportunities and then being successful. So
and I think when they mentioned the other women in charge of the Miami Marlins, I believe they were actually referring to don't Serena Williams and that's the Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah. I think they were talking about wasn't it like a team? It was very front office.
Or is it J-Lo? Yeah. Does she own them?
J-Lo also was Dolphins. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Both of them like bought in for 5%. Basically, they bought in enough where they could show up to an owner's box and like have free food and drink.
Yeah, but there is another woman that's in charge over there, and I feel bad that I don't know her name.
I think the woman you're thinking of, to your point, so we'll get it together. But she is involved. It's not like a lightweight thing,
right?
Yeah. She's involved.
But the news here is that she's the first female general manager in the history of the Major League Baseball.
She's done. And, I always love seeing the story and seeing how the person looks in the picture. And they have a photo of her, like she's on the phone. She look like, I could just look at her like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, she does know. She does know what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's great. That's great. But, yeah, so good. That's good. Because I was a little upset about MLB last week after that whole COVID thing. Like,
yeah, it was stupid.
I was just not happy with him.
I was just like, well, they let him do it. And you were like, who are they? And I'm like, whoever didn't stop him at the door.
Yeah, and it's like, that dude needs to be punished. And I'm ready to throw him out the league for that. I'm just so tilted, Sham, about this COVID thing. And it's... The reason I'm bringing it up now because it's permeating everything, even in sports. We got games canceled. We got people still getting it, of course, just like everywhere else in the country. And it's just throwing everything in the rhyme. When I see people treated like that, it's like it just triggers me, man.
Yeah, it's definitely the lack of care and concern that bothers me the most. Like, well, I ain't wearing no mask. Well,
it's like, what? Yeah, it's like,
and you could be I'm not sick, but you could be asymptomatic. Like that's not negotiable.
Right. And plus, how do you know you're not sick? Like every single second you could get sick. Like
exactly.
I can say I'm not sick right now and get sick.
I'm
like,
probably sick right now.
Over. Right. And I know it. Like, you're stupid. Right. All right. NBA. So.
Oh, this was crazy.
Now, Sham, I'm going to have so much fun talking about all this.
This came way out the blue.
So, okay. We got a couple of NBA stories. The NBA never disappoints in being a complete soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Houston.
Jesus.
So a couple things. I don't think we actually said it on the last show, so we'll say it now. Not Paul Silas.
His son.
His son, right.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff didn't get the job in Houston.
Nah, I don't think he wanted the job in Houston. To me, it sounds like the deal probably wasn't sweet enough. And that's why that didn't go down. I did mention Paul Silas' son as one of the candidates when we were doing the breakdown.
Yes.
But I never thought that he would actually get it. Yeah.
Well, hey, look, you mentioning it, and at minimum, put him on the radar. So good job there. And yeah, he got the job. He got the job. Now, so that's news number one. That's the actual news in terms of just uneventful. Now, then we get a report. Actually, I guess as a result of that and other things.
Oh, yeah.
Russ and Harden
Steven Silas,
thank you. Yeah, because we're kind of disrespectful. I was.
Paul Silas' son.
Paul Silas, whoever. I don't know what's that.
Just a son.
Yeah, whoever. Russell Westbrook and James Harden apparently, quote unquote, are unhappy with the direction of the team. Now, did you see PT out this week?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see Tony Kornheiser's take on this?
That was when Frank Isola was on the team.
On there with Isola.
Yeah.
Hilarious. I'm not even going to try to
nah, you can't.
But I mean, just the context of everything. But long story short, I agree with him completely. What do you mean you're not happy with the direction of the team? You're the direction of the team.
Right. They're paying you. These two are getting paid $81 million next season. You are the direction of the team.
He didn't say that. He was talking about the money. But we on the Stop Playing podcast will say that. You're the direction of the team. Like, you're the direction. And neither one of you has won anything. And look, we both love Russ to a fault, but you can't be out here complaining. Like, you're not the solution. If you're not the solution, then you're the problem, but at least be a quiet problem.
So basically, they don't know Steven Silas like that.
Right.
And they don't want to play for him. And so because they don't really want to play, and I'm paraphrasing because they didn't say, I'm just kind of, this is what I'm gathering.
This is all conjecture. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't want to play for him. So they blame the team for not having direction. No, the direction is he's going to be your coach and we're paying you $81 million, the two of you next year, and you're going to play. So, but now they're talking about Russ possibly going somewhere on the East Coast to the Eastern Conference. And I guess James Harden, I haven't heard about him leaving, but it looks like him and Russ are going to split up. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
This story has morphed. At first, it was both of them are unhappy with the hire and the direction of the team. Then it was like Russ is leaving. Then it was like, and all of these things are still in the atmosphere. It's like Russ and James don't like each other anymore either. So it's like, okay, so if any of these things are true, like, this is a huge problem. And it's just like, okay, Russ, we've actually fleshed out our problems with both of them. But it's a shame, man, because it's like, man, y'all just cannot get out of your own way. Seriously. Can y'all, to your point, you don't even know him. Can y'all at least let him come in there and see if he can make y'all work?
If I was him, I'd be concerned about the direction of his players.
Right.
His star players.
Yeah, you're not happy with me. I'm not happy with the fact that both of y'all have won the MVP and can't put one foot in front of the other when it comes crunch time.
Exactly.
Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
This is a sidebar, but I love Comcast Xfinity because when you put the TV on, when the screensaver comes on, it shows all these little not breaking news, but these little news blocks. And the block that just popped up was Ryan Lochte struggles in racing comeback. Ryan Lochte, you old. Stop trying to race.
I'm glad you did this, Salvo. There's a name I hadn't heard for a while. Anytime I get the opportunity to even mention Ryan Lochte's name on the podcast, I will do it. Ryan Lochte is the most hilarious person. I can't wait to talk about him because I'm pretty sure he's trying to get into next year's Olympics.
Oh, he absolutely is. Yeah. That's why he's trying to race now. Like you old, bro. Let it go.
Yeah, Sham,
let me not be an ageist.
Sham, I've been talking about wanting to be in rooms. I want to be in the room. I would love to be in the room when Ryan Lochte cooked up that plan to lie about getting robbed. To pull a Jussie Smollett when he was in Brazil, which is what got him in trouble.
I never will understand why that story ever happened. I think they did that because they know they weren't supposed to be where they were.
Right? Oh, no, that's exactly what happened. They were out hanging out, they were drinking and all that. And I think they got in a fight or something. And so they knew they would get exposed because they were about to get arrested. And so they cooked up the plan that they were getting robbed. And everyone believed him at first because he's white. And he was in a non-white country. And then that story fell apart quickly.
Yeah, because the Brazilian authorities were all over that.
Yeah, and they had cameras.
They were all over it.
Yeah, they had cameras of what happened. Yeah. Ryan Lochte was Jussie Smollett before Jussie Smollett. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's great, though.
Yeah, thank you, Comcast.
Yeah. And actually, one other non sequitur about streaming services, Sham, I know you appreciate this. Before the Penn State Nebraska game earlier, I was looking on my TV, and actually, no, someone else streamed it. So this is DirecTV. I like how sporting events, the streaming services, the carriers put like their description of what's going to happen, and in the description it said, free falling programs battle.
Dang.
And I thought it was relevant in sports because it's like, who decides what goes on there? Who's the editor? Who's the producer that decides? They said free falling programs, Penn State 0-3, Nebraska 0-4, battle. And it's like, so you get to put your opinions on there too?
That's excellent.
I love that. But in keeping with our opinions about sports, look, this Houston situation, I think Russell will get traded. I think he will. There's too much smoke here. And James Harden's not going anywhere, so Russell's going to leave, right?
Yeah, no.
I can't call where, but yeah.
They trying to keep him. They trying to nail down James Harden. I don't know why.
Yeah, James Harden, yes, but Russ.
Yeah, Russ is out of there.
Yeah, he's out there. We don't know where, but he's out there. All right, now, look, you and I talked about Chris Paul. We talked about, hey, man, Chris Paul is a great player.
I love Chris Paul.
I like him too. There's already talk that he might go to the Clippers. And Sham, when someone told me this, here was my immediate reaction. Okay, if the stories about Kawhi Leonard's conduct in terms of load management and not practicing all the time and not playing all the time and his attitude about that are true, this will absolutely not work.
Yeah, no, because Chris Paul ain't about that life.
He's not having that. If it's not true, then okay. If that's been blown up and Kawhi's actually like chilled out and all that, then it will work. But if Kawhi has the attitude that it's been reported that he's been having, then that's not going to work at all. But gosh, if only for that, this should work, right?
I feel like Chris Paul with anybody should work except for James Harden.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But Chris Paul's a little diva. He gets a little crazy, and a lot of people don't like playing with him. And God, speaking of Tony Kornheiser, he hates Chris Paul.
He does. He despises him.
But I did not hear anything about him going to the Clippers. Actually, all I've been hearing is about him going to the Suns, because he really wants to play with Devin Booker. And so Devin Booker really wants to play with him.
Yeah. So again, PTI, yeah, they talked about that too. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I think that's exactly. I agree with Wilbon. I agree that that's exactly something that would work for Chris Paul because he likes to be the guy. I mean, he's a point guard. So naturally, you are the floor leader. You are the leader of the team. And putting those nuggets into the young minds of that Suns team. Because what's the average age on that team? What, like 25? Maybe even younger than that. Yeah. Shoot, he's bringing up the health insurance costs if he joins the team.
Yeah.
But I think that would be perfect for him because it puts him in teaching mode, and he probably won't have as much pushback as he would with other veteran players.
Yeah, it's the shame is. I'm glad you said that. Chris Paul needs to hurry up and retire so he can be like one of the best coaches ever.
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, he has all the knowledge, and he doesn't care if people like him or not.
Facts.
Yeah, so it's like you're gonna be a great coach. It's just the whole playing with people situation that's gonna be difficult for you. But no, I want to see him with the Clippers because I just think that will work really well, and that will be a huge problem in the West. And I want to see him I want to see him even get to the finals, much less actually win it.
Well, he ain't getting there with the Suns.
And that's why I want him with the Clippers. That's why I want him with the Clippers. Sham,
would he go back to the Clippers though? I guess Doc's not there anymore.
Yeah, Doc's not there. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's the whole new ball game.
Wow.
Yeah, Tyronn Lue's running the show.
Ugh,
I know, right? But
actually, if Chris Paul goes there, Tyronn Lue will not be running the show. Chris Paul will be running.
Yeah, he'll be running the show. So yeah, of course he would go there. Hey man, LeBron already told me you make plays behind people's backs for the good players. So I run the ship. Thanks. Yeah. So now I can see him there. But I like it. And in general, NBA, there's been a couple other moves, but we're still on schedule for about a month and a half away from the start of the season. Shame, I have no problem with it. None.
I have a problem with Demar Derozan likely going to the Lakers, though.
And I almost overlooked that story. Thank you. What is your problem with it?
What are we doing? Are we trying to be the 99 Portland Trailblazers out here? Like, why are we stacking this team with all these people?
So we being the Lakers?
Yeah. Why are we doing this?
I mean, you got it. According to people like, I don't know, Sham, the Lakers aren't that good and didn't deserve to win the championship. So
I don't know if I said they weren't that.
Okay, fine. But they're not a championship team. And Shaka said that too. So fine. They're trying to get better.
This is another attempt for LeBreeze to be like, look, I got DeRozan, I got AD. I'm gonna sit over here and chill.
Yeah, so
he trying to play GM. He GMing over there.
So this is the LeBreeze is gonna sit out for a month conspiracy theory.
This is the LeBreeze load management.
I'm so prepared to be so wrong, but I don't know why. Maybe I'm just being naive. I'm totally not prepared to believe that LeBron was serious about sitting out the first one. He's not. He's not going to do that. He said
cherry picking. He didn't say sit out. He said cherry picking, meaning he going to be lazy.
Oh, look. Yeah. Okay. So in the first month, over under games. All right. So if there are maybe 13, 14 games in a month, I would say he's going to play like 10 of them.
Or he's going to give half the effort when he's playing. Like,
he does that now.
That's what cherry picking is. Like, it's like you out there, but you ain't really playing hard.
Sham, I believe he and most of the NBA players do that now.
Well, I don't know. But in all seriousness, so the trade would reportedly be San Antonio would trade DeMar DeRozan for Danny Green and Kyle Kuzma. Why? I don't like that Kyle Kuzma is always mentioned in these trade blocks.
Yeah. He's the only person people really want in the trade.
Right. That's but he's also one of the only people on the Lakers that should actually keep.
Which is why people want him.
It's like
he's
And definitely not for DeMar DeRozan. He don't play both ends of the court.
Yeah, DeMar DeRozan. This is kind of a crossroads for him because he hasn't really made a very good positive impact in San Antonio. And, Kawhi Leonard was going to leave San Antonio regardless, but the point is San Antonio got DeMar DeRozan back for him. And San Antonio's fate since then has been in the tubes. And that's on DeMar DeRozan. Somebody said it best. One of my friends said it. We knew he wasn't the number one, but is he even a number two at this point based on his performance in San Antonio?
No, but I mean, San Antonio is good for taking number ones and making them look bad. Like, look at Lamarcus Aldridge. He was balling in Portland. He goes to San Antonio and he looks like, the fourth best option.
I have a slightly different take. I feel like Lamarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan are both scenarios in which the team does not look bad based on how they're performing. They look bad because Lamarcus Aldridge, yes, he was balling in terms of statistically important, but they weren't winning anything. So you would think okay, well, he's good. He's going to a winning organization. Maybe they could do something with him. And it's no, you're going down there. Your stats really were empty because Pop is even down there. And remember, Pop was getting frustrated with Aldridge. Dude, yeah, okay. Your numbers look okay, but you're not out here really impactful. It had to it kind of went public that he was getting a little flustered with him.
Oh, it definitely went public. Yeah,
and look, that hasn't happened with DeRozan, but the point is, maybe your stats were a little bit empty, like it kind of appeared in the bad team. You get to a good team with a good coach, because I think we all can agree Pop is a good coach who knows how to get stuff out of people. And it's
legend.
It's you're not translating into wins here. So what's happening right now? And that's kind of actually you really led me into what I think my big question with DeRozan is. I don't know what to think about DeMar DeRozan now. And that would be why I would question that trade.
That part too.
Else. Yeah.
What does he add to the Lakers?
Yeah. Are you bringing what are you bringing?
As I was looking further into the story, I'm like, wait, you're losing Kyle Kuzma for this dude?
Yeah.
At least you're going to get the effort and energy from Kyle Kuzma. Not DeMarcus Aldridge. DeMar DeRozan plays with no energy. He don't even know where he is half the time. And I felt like that when he was in Toronto.
Shane, thank you. Shane, think about what we're saying. What was the problem with the Toronto Raptors? There were two people who were the so-called heads of that team. Mm-hmm. DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. We have unpacked our issues with both of them. So, DeMar DeRozan, you've gotten an opportunity to go somewhere else to show us that Kyle Lowry was indeed the problem. Maybe you both were the problem. You know what I mean? Neither one of you was the solution. I guess I should say it like that. Not so much you both were the problem with, but neither one of you were the solution. And right. and maybe that's where you're at, where you're a good piece. You're not a one, you're not a two. You're a good piece. If we got a good 1 and 2, let's bring you in and help out. Which, okay, under that logic, I see where the Lakers are at. And only under that logic. So, we'll see. NBA should be fun, though. It'll always be fun. It's always fun. When guys move around, it's a soap opera. It really is a soap opera, right, Sham? They're in a relationship, quote unquote, a team, a partnership, whatever, and then everything's wine and roses for 2 weeks, and then there's a narrative, and then they leave, and then they think that was the problem. It's like a soap opera; it never ends. Yep. you keep getting in these relationships, but really the narrative is drawn by the fact that you destroy all your relationships. That's what good NBA players do nowadays. So whatever.
All right, let's get into the NFL.
What you got? Birds were off last week. Who y'all got this week?
The Giants.
Sham, listen, you and I had a tete-a-tete online, but I'm gonna stand by it on the podcast. I'm tired of seeing the NFC East on television.
They're not going to be on television.
I know they're not. But the NFC East is so bad, they should stop putting them on television and put good teams on television.
Well, they got the most Super Bowls in the history of the league, so that's why they're going to be on TV.
And if we want a history lesson, we'll go to NFL Films, the NFL Network. But when we want to see actual live football games, keep them off.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm telling you why. And you know why. So I don't even know why you're sitting here mad about it. You know why. They have the biggest markets in the entire
I'm a consumer.
NFL.
Thank you for telling me that.
The 4 largest markets. They're always going to be on TV. Let it go.
Me and the rest of the family understands that. We're consumers. We want the best product. Now, can I get a prediction on the game?
What, that we're going to beat the Giants because we always do?
Yeah, y'all will beat the Giants.
You know I was going to say that.
Champ, over under how many fumbles Daniel Jones has had in his career? His brief career. He's a year and a half into his career.
17.
More.
I thought I was being rude by saying 17.
Yo, Daniel Jones has fumbled the ball 23 times. It's really a remarkable, in a bad way, number. It's one of those things, like, he will fumble in this game tomorrow. Like, it's just the statistics point to it. Like, there will be a fumble of some sort from Daniel Jones in this game. Okay, so if y'all beat the Giants, you guys are 3-4-1 right now.
Yeah, we'll be at 500 and 551 or something. Like, what is it if you have a tie?
Yeah, 4-4-1. So yeah, it'll be like 551, 560, something like that. Pretty much in the driver's seat to make the playoffs, especially given the givens for the other teams in the division. And according to you, it's still perfectly appropriate that y'all host a playoff game, correct?
Yes. And don't say according to me like I'm on some private island with my own thoughts. Like, there are other people who agree.
Yeah, they are. I mean, 70 million people voted for 45. That means it's a good idea.
Hey, they weren't alone.
That means it's a good idea. But no. So look, okay. So y'all played the Giants. Look, any scuttle about the Birds in general, injury report, things of that nature?
Alshon Jeffrey is supposed to be able to come back, but I don't think he will play. Lane Johnson still battling the ankle. They have rested Fletcher Cox this week for whatever reason.
Rested him?
Yeah, he was rested this week.
So he's a healthy scratch tomorrow?
No, he's playing, but he was practice wise.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay.
But yeah, other than that, the usual hurt suspects, they still hurt.
What's up with Deshawn Jackson? I've been very curious about. I know it's a hamstring and I know it's difficult to, gauge that, but man, it just seems so unlucky for both parties.
It's the high ankle sprain now. Because remember, he came back from the hamstring and got hurt in that dirty hit in the last Giants game.
That's right. The Giants did that. So, yeah, okay. He won't be back anytime soon. Okay.
Nah.
All right. So, okay. You guys will probably go to 4-4-1 and you'll be fine. All right. So, let's just go through the games. That's the better way to do it.
All right. So, Tampa Bay and Carolina.
Yep. Tampa. However, listen, Bruce Arians, that's why I like him. He's not shy about criticizing Tom Brady, and I'm glad he's doing it. And people are acting like he's wrong in doing it. He's not. Tom Brady is playing well, but he's making horrible mistakes, and he needs to get criticized. And if it needs to be public and that hurts his feelings, so be it. But I like Tampa for that. I think my issue with that. We've discussed it to great length. Mm-hmm. But here's my thing. Okay, Tom Brady's 43. Yes.
And he's making errors. He's still better than 20 other quarterbacks in the league at this point. But remember when Peyton Manning was throwing freaking Chad Pennington balls?
Yes,
Nobody was nobody was coming at him like, oh, he needs to play better. Oh, but for whatever reason, maybe they should have, but I just feel like it's an unfair level of vitriol towards somebody who, again, has 6 rings.
I think vitriol is a strong word. He's criticizing his play. Vitriol would be the word I describe for Tom Brady's reaction to other people when they screw up, which is, again, I want to make my position clear with you and the listeners. It's fine. I'm not saying criticize Tom Brady for being mean. Tom Brady is within his rights to be a leader and hold people accountable. And if he needs to scream on them, that's fine. But you cannot do that if you are out here screwing up. And that's all I'm saying. And Bruce Arians isn't even going at him like that. He's just commenting on what he's seeing and holding him accountable, which allegedly Tom Brady is trying to do. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I think that Tom Brady is taking it like he should take it. Like
he is, and I give him credit for that.
He's taking he's taking it in as if, okay, this guy's and this is how it is. He's my coach and I'm supposed to listen to my coach. He's been very good about it, which is why I think, even though he is absolutely taking accountability for his bad play. Mm-hmm. He has come out and he has said it, which is why I think it's also okay to, if there are other players on the team that's not playing up to their ability, him being the leader on the field should be able to portray that as well. That's all I'm saying.
So if I'm understanding you right, spread some of that accountability around if you're Bruce Arians publicly.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm with that. You've made your point with Tom Brady. Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yep.
So Houston and Cleveland.
I like Cleveland.
Dang.
I know, right? It's bad. Look, D.Y., he's still down there. He's still doing his thing, but Cleveland actually is playing well. The defense is playing well, and relatively to them, and they're running the ball well.
They're going to play better without OBJ. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, he's out of there. Houston, look, honestly, it's half the season, but this is a throwaway season. Like, don't get Deshaun Watson hurt and just play out the rest of the games, because you're nowhere in your division. You got 2 boss teams in your division. So
they're somewhere, and that's the dumpster.
Right.
But I mean, look, Deshaun Watson got the second highest payday ever in the NFL. So protect him. But I actually think Houston might squeak in a win here. I don't know.
Okay. I don't believe in Cleveland.
I feel like they might squeak out a win. I do.
Okay. Is it just a feeling, or like,
I get my guts. My gut. Yeah. So Washington and Detroit.
This is, Shan, when you jump in the dumpster, it's hard to distinguish pieces of trash.
Hey, the Detroit has one more win than the Washington team. So,
Shan, I'm going to call Washington. Alex Smith should not be playing at all. However, even though he's thrown some horrible interceptions and stuff like that, he's shown the ability to move the ball up and down the field. Now, look, Matthew Stafford, of course, has that ability, but I have more faith in Ron Rivera than I do in Matt Patricia.
Yes, I was going to say this is all about Matt Patricia. Like, let's get to the meat.
As far as I'm concerned, you're right. You're right. Hey, look, when Bill O'Brien got fired, I had to focus my soaring iron on someone else, didn't I? I didn't have Bill O'Brien to kick around anymore. Now I got Matt Patricia.
Now this is vitriol.
Yeah.
Look, this is one of those games that Washington would actually come out and win. Like they do stuff like this. It's like, Detroit should win this game, even though, I mean, it's at home. Matthew Stafford is a much better quarterback, but Matthew Stafford going to end up throwing like 3 interceptions in the game, and Washington's going to find a way to win.
Yep. Any thoughts on AP's performance tomorrow? Coming back against his old team, which it didn't even really feel like that's his old team, but he did play there for 2 years.
They're not playing the Vikings.
Right. but he did play in Washington. And that was well in Washington.
That was 3 teams ago. Right. But you're talking about like the previews for episodes on streaming services. So the preview for this on The Score is Lions host Washington in matchup of struggling teams. Yeah, I mean that's not even. You know what? That's not even a troll. It's just accurate. Like just put that record there. You see it. Yeah. All right. So this is an easy one. Jaguars Packers.
Oh my God. This is a mess. I mean the Packers. Hopefully, and it's in Green Bay. The Packers slaughtered them. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is 24-2.
Yes.
Touchdowns and interceptions. He's balling. He's having an MVP type season, like statistically, but he's not even in the conversation.
I mean, I'll never talk about the drama of the Packers ever again because every time I talk about it, they just go out and just smash people.
He prevails.
And even at the time I said, I'm like, but they're still going to go out and smash people. But then they smash people even worse than I'm thinking. But somehow Kirkbox beat them. Like that game slid completely under my radar, but they lost to the Vikings. They shouldn't have lost that game. But I mean, it's a division game, so fine. But yeah, they're gonna smash them. Yeah, this is special.
Chargers Dolphins.
Okay, Sham. Listen, I'm gonna say this right now. I haven't been as angry after a win as I was after my Raiders played the Chargers last week. And look, I knew the Chargers were better than their record indicated coming into that game, but the Chargers are okay. And our defense is garbage. But the point being, the Dolphins are really good, though.
Yeah, they're surging.
Brian Flores has done a great job with that team. And look, I disagreed with putting Tua in, and I still do, even though he's been successful. I disagree with like the logic behind that, but he's been successful. And Brian Flores has been successful. I like the Dolphins for this, but it's not out of any bias for the Chargers. The Chargers is just charging. And honestly, Anthony Lynn, this is karma. Like you have actually done a good job with this team, but in my book, you screwed over Tyrod Taylor. The Chargers are still doing Chargers stuff that they were doing even before you got there, where they're losing close games that they deserve to win, and you'll probably get fired. Yeah, but Herbert's is good. Herbert's good. Chargers are good, but I like the Dolphins. They're better.
Yeah, the Dolphins, like I said, are surging. They're like they found the niche. Like they have a really good young running back, but he got injured. I want to say last week. Tua is balling. So yeah, I think they're gonna end up winning that game.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game, and I think it'll be a close game. Right?
Yeah, I think so. Bills Cardinals. So this game, is intriguing to me because the Bills again, they're top of their division. The Cardinals are just fun to watch, and I feel like Kyler Murray has become what Lamar Jackson was last year. And actually is leading in all those stats that Lamar Jackson had last year too. But my problem is I have D-Hop on my fantasy team and he ain't throwing him the ball enough.
No, he's not. Well, for fantasy purposes.
Right. That's all I care about.
Yeah. For their real purposes, they'll be fine. But this is gonna be a great game. This is a hard game to call. Yeah. No, who you like?
I think I like Buffalo.
You believe in Buffalo again?
I think I like Buffalo.
Look, Buffalo is an excellent record. I mean,
as I said, with the Wentz.
Yeah. I mean, look, they have an excellent record or a great record.
7-2.
They were slipping a little bit in the middle of the season, in the middle of the first half of the season, so quarter season. The defense was not showing up as much as it should, and I think it still hasn't as much as it did last year. But Josh Allen, he had dipped in his play, but now he's kind of gotten out of that funk. I like Arizona. Arizona's been more consistent with me than Buffalo.
Really?
I believe also this will be a close game and a good game.
It's going to be in Arizona.
Yeah. I believe this will be a very good game, actually. But Kyler Murray showed me everything I needed to see. He had been doing it up to that point, but that game against Seattle, like, they came out and they were like, look, we're taking this game. We're taking it.
Did you know that Stephon Diggs has not over 800 receiving yards?
Yeah, because I feel like he had like 400 of them against my Raiders.
Next.
He probably didn't, but it certainly felt like that.
And speaking of your Raiders, they're playing the Broncos tomorrow.
So this is one of those games. Listen,
like I said about Washington.
I know I've said on the podcast, and people, you know, I cry wolf 100 times, and it doesn't mean anything. We're better than the Broncos. We are better than them.
Oh, if y'all don't beat the Broncos,
we have better. Sham, this is I've called November sweeps month because this is like the AFC West month. We just played the Chargers, and I was apoplectic at that game. We should have lost it. Okay, we basically the receiver dropped the ball. Sam, that's it. He dropped the ball in the end zone. Otherwise, if he had caught it, we would have. It had nothing to do with us. Is the point? We played Denver. We're better than them, and then we play Kansas City next week. Even I have been looking forward to the Kansas City game. So I hope the team has not and doesn't overlook Denver. Drew Lock has been playing well. He is their quarterback. I shouldn't say well. He's been playing like better than John Elway's previous experiments at that outside of Peyton Manning. So he is their quarterback. That's fine. But Denver's not a good team. We should smash them. But we're not going to smash them because our defense is horrible. But we should and will beat them. That's my take. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all should beat them. Yeah. There's no reason, but I don't know. It's one of those things. It's a division game. Mm-hmm. They'll find a way to win. Or you'll find a way to lose.
You got them winning?
I did not pick anybody. I just said.
You just said they'll find a way to win, or we'll find a way to lose.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's one of those division type things.
If that happens. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know who will win. I think y'all should win that, but
we better win it. I don't know if we'll be able to do a podcast next week because I'll be in somebody's mental institution. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Bengals Steelers.
Steelers. But you know what's funny about this? There are probably Bengals people out there right now listening to this podcast that think they're going to beat Pittsburgh.
Well, they should. They're supposed to.
Why?
I mean, the Bengals are trash. They should hope they win a game every week.
Oh, meaning they should believe that?
Yeah.
As in because they like their team?
Right.
Okay, but not on a factual basis.
No. You should always go into the week believing your team's going to win.
Sure. Yeah, like spiritually, yes.
But especially since their record is so bad, you would think that they would get a win here and there somehow.
Oh, so this is the sun got to shine on the dog's ass theory?
Pretty much.
Okay, I like that theory, but yeah, no, they're going to get smashed.
But I don't know.
Pittsburgh looked bad against Dallas last week.
And Big Ben is struggling because he got a little hurt in that Dallas game. So
yeah, and there was talk he might have COVID, but of course he
Lord
got cleared. He got cleared today, I think, actually. But so he's gonna play. Look, Cincinnati. See, here's the problem. Even when Cincinnati's good, they can't beat Pittsburgh. Like, that's the problem.
Facts.
So, until proven otherwise, I'm going to pick Pittsburgh in a game against Cincinnati. And they're not good. Joe Burrow will probably have another good game. Like 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, but an interception of some sort. Probably because somebody dropped the ball or something. So It'll be something like that.
Wow. Ben Roethlisberger is 18-4. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Only 4
He's having a great season. He's having a great season. Yeah.
Seahawks Rams. That's going to be a good game.
Good game. I like the Rams on that.
It has division implications as well.
It has division implications. Seattle, even despite their great record, they were looking like the absolute hands down best team in the league for a while, and they've had a couple stumbles. And also historically, and I mean recent history, the Rams, they have the Seahawks number. They know how to play them. They know how to play Pete Carroll. And it looks like the Rams, Sean McVay has understood that last year was not a good look for them.
Yeah, no.
And I feel like he's regrouped that team, and I like both offensively and defensively what they've been doing this season. I mean, look, they have Aaron Donald. So, I mean, why shouldn't you not be good defensively? But offensively, Jared Goff has always still continued to be sort of a question mark, but he's having a good season. So maybe Todd Gurley was a problem, Sam. I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt that.
That's an extreme statement, right?
Yeah, I doubt that.
But they were treating him like that.
Because Todd Gurley was balling, and then all of a sudden he wasn't.
Yeah.
And they weren't playing him.
Who you like for that? Who you like for the game?
I think I like the Rams. This game means a lot to them as a franchise because this is the first NFC West game in their stadium. So
really?
Week
8?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So this is the first division game in their stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to want to show out. To be honest, I think there's going to be a sense of pride there that they want to get that win. And look, Seahawks are 6-2. The Rams are 5-3.
Yeah.
They beat the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a division implication I was talking about.
Yep. And I'm saying week 8. It's week 10.
Yeah, it is week 10. They should have been had a home game in
what?
In their division.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah,
but we did talk about that stupid schedule last year when they put it out.
Yes, we did. Yep. But that'll be a good game. And obviously because of where it is, it's an afternoon, but I'm glad it is. So.
Yeah. 49ers Saints.
49, you know what's crazy? 49ers, man, it's just, we've talked about it a bunch, but between COVID, what's crazy is COVID has been the overlying issue with them and injuries. I mean, Nick Bosa at the beginning of the season, but I mean, the benching of Jimmy G, and I mean, fine, he came back in, but that would have been a way bigger story under normal circumstances, given what they paid him and all that.
Yeah.
But Saints. Drew Brees is still looking old out there, though. Yeah.
He is old.
Yeah. I mean, he's looking his age when he wasn't before. I mean, Tom's old, you know?
Yeah, that's why I can't, with the both of them, like saying they look old out there is like, yeah, because they old. Like at a certain point, they're not going to be looking like superheroes anymore. And this is what it looks like. I mean, this is the decline. We're seeing it.
Right. But, both of them, and rightfully so, because you have to have that energy and that spirit to continue to play, but they don't act like it, and they don't have the type of humility that I feel you should have sometimes, but that's fine. That's what drives the engine. So that's fine.
Look, Breeze was shimmying last week.
Because he beat the other old dude. Like, I know I'll do it. What do you do? No, I'm fine.
Yeah. But, Tom is like, wash these rings off for me.
Anyway.
And the last game on the schedule, and that's a Monday night game. Or actually, maybe it's Sunday night. It's at 8.
We got two more. I think.
What's the other one? It ain't on here.
Because you're talking about Ravens Patriots?
Yeah, that's
okay. That's Sunday. Yeah.
So okay, moving on.
Yep. So Ravens Patriots, who you got in that?
The Ravens. I mean, this game doesn't have the cachet that it would normally have because Tom Brady's not playing.
I like it. I like the game though. I think it'll be a close affair. I do like the Ravens, but look, Cam fumbled that ball against Buffalo. Otherwise, they would have beaten them. They won last week against the Jets, which was entirely too close.
Yeah, they should have blown them out.
Correct. But the point being, Cam, I think that Cam is emotional and it's horrible, but whatever. But the point being, he needs that to feed his confidence. I think it'll be a close game, actually. I think it'll be very close. And I think the Ravens win by a field goal. I'll go that far in calling it.
I think they'll win by at least 10.
Yeah. I think they win by last second field goal, actually.
Wow, you putting a lot of pressure into that being a good game.
Sure.
I think the Ravens going to run all over them.
Yeah. And then Monday night.
Vikings Bears.
So look,
you should be mad about this game being on TV. You mad about the NFC East?
I am mad about this game. So yeah, don't take it personally, NFC East. I mean, you know you're trash. But look, Kirkbox is somehow out on a string because he's beating everybody in the division. Matt Nagy, meanwhile, so this game is intriguing. Matt Nagy and Kirkbox are in the same position where, like, they're hated in their cities, and their cities are looking for excuses to get them out of there. Yeah, that's kind of how I see this game. In terms of calling it, I like the Vikings, actually. The Bears do not look good. They slid a couple of games into the win column. They lost
4 straight.
Yeah, they've slid a couple of games into the win column in the beginning and gave them some cushion, and they're completely backsliding.
The interesting thing is I feel like they backslid as soon as he made Nick Foles the starting quarterback, right. But it's not Nick Foles' fault that they're losing.
Correct. That's exactly.
He's not the problem.
Like, he thought that he was being real cute and saying, even though we're doing a good job, I'm going to put Nick Foles in here because I don't like Mitch Trubisky. And then when they start losing, that will be the easy, low-hanging fruit. But that, to your point, it's not about Nick Foles. Yeah. Y'all were winning despite your coaching methods.
Right.
Yeah. Like, put Mitch Trubisky back in there, y'all still lose. So,
I mean, hey, we'll take him back. We don't have an offensive coordinator, so
yikes.
We'll take Nagy.
Yeah. Speaking of which, one small note, since it looks like I guess they have the bye week. What a great game between the Titans and Colts. So really, that started off week 10.
Yes.
Frank
Thursday
Reich,
night.
Yeah. Frank Reich, man. Listen, I would want him back ASAP. He showed what the Colts and Titans are both good teams. That was a good game, but he completely now special teams. Gostowski, Shem, does he have to go?
I mean, he's old.
Yeah, he's missed a kick. He's like 6'13".
Not 6'13".
No, he really was. Like on the year coming into that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's missed a lot of kicks this year. Yes. I watched the game where he missed 3 in the game, yes. And I was like, "What?" Yes.
Probably one of them was like an extra point. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's horrible.
How does the Colts always end up with the Patriots' legendary kickers?
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, Gosnowski, look, you talk about somebody looking old, and he's looking really old. And you're right. I'm always going to want Frank Reich back because he was, and I still believe he was the thing that made Carson Wentz work.
Yeah, he's doing a great job with the team. Yeah. One thing I don't like that I haven't mentioned, Shan, remember when we first started, when Andrew Luck was still there, they have Jacoby Brissett throw like a bomb at halftime and at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. They still do that.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
They did that last week.
So they just he's got the arm, you do it. He can do it.
Exactly. And this week, what they did was when there was a sneak, so he scored the touchdown, but it's like They're putting him in there to do like these like high risk, low, you know, whatever. Like, oh, to your point, Phillip Rivers is old. Let's bring in Jacoby Brissett. He can throw that ball down there for a Hail Mary. Oh, this is a sneak. We don't want Phillip Rivers to get hurt. Let's bring in Jacoby Brissett. I don't like that. It's a bad look.
Yeah, it's a very bad look, especially since it was his job and then they took it away.
Thank you.
I was like, I didn't even understand. Like, and I believe we brought this up when they talked about Phillip Rivers going there. I don't understand why they needed him there. Exactly. Like he's not adding anything, to be honest.
Yeah. Except interceptions. But
because you need those.
Right.
So look, episode 86. Who's number 86?
I'm not sure. Any 86 jump out to you? 86. That's a weird number.
Zach Ertz.
Is he 86 for him? I mean, you would know. You would know. Yeah.
I think so.
You think so? You think you're not sure?
Look, I'm not sure. I will admit that.
All right.
That's not a number that I think about. I got some other numbers on that team I think about, though.
I've had Zach Ertz on my fantasy team of some sort, even if I have multiple, like for, I want to say, however long he's been in the league, X consecutive years. Yeah. So I like him.
He is number 86, so I did know.
Cool. I mean, I'm not going to call it Zach Ertz episode, but, you know,
that's the only one I could think of.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a weird number to have. He must have been he was born in 86, probably.
It's a tight end number, though, if you think about it.
Was he born in 86?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't see any other reason why he would be 86.
Because he was born in 1990. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, maybe his older brother or something. Who knows?
It's the number they had left at Stanford. It was like, here.
Yeah. No, that's what's up.
But anyway, that wraps up this non-named number 86 episode of the Stop Playing Podcast. As always, you can catch us on any podcast platform out there, specifically Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And remember, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. Check us out on our website, www.stopplayingpodcast.com. Also on Facebook and Instagram at The Stop Playing Podcast, on YouTube at The Stop Playing Podcast, and at Twitter at The Stop_Playing Pod. As always, no double dipping unless it's the podcast. Please keep your chips on the plate, and we'll see you real soon.
Stop playing.